ITV Evening News with Owen Shreves.
Hi, David. I'm with you to opposite. Okay, our main news tonight is how will Russia MILITARY business size in the grain? Here is here is the latest.
And the Russian tactics are growing more ruthless by the day. Artillery and cruise missiles are the weapons of choice, along with sporadic attempts to occupy territory with armored columns. But Moscow is already facing fierce resistance, with Ukrainians defiant. And in this case, defenders armed with Western-supplied weapons appearing to bring down a Russian helicopter.
Yes! Yes, блядь! Два!
One major question is whether President Putin has the agility to abandon a failing strategy. The Defense Secretary believes a pivot is already underway.
The Russians are changing their tactics. They realize their initial plan was a failure, and so what we see is nighttime bombing from the air because they are frightened of anti-air during the day. We've seen those massive bombardments and potentially encirclement rather than actually going into the cities where they know they'll lose thousands of soldiers.
The brutality shown 22 years ago in Grozny, in which vast swathes of the Chechen capital were destroyed, is a sign of just how ruthless Russian tactics can be. And some fear the same fate now awaits Ukrainian cities.
We will see the Russians surround areas of the city, issue warnings, and then they'll devastate areas, and anybody left in there will be assumed to be hostile. That's how they'll work.
In Syria more recently, Putin's campaign to support the Assad regime was almost based entirely on the Russian Air Force. It involved a relentless bombing strategy that showed no regard for civilian life. But so far in the Ukraine operation, perhaps uncertain of its control of the airspace, Moscow has not yet made full use of its bombers, although air assets are certainly visible on nearby military airfields. One of the great uncertainties is Russian troop morale, and whether this fratricidal war will lead to mass desertions. What is clear, though, is that the horror of what is being unleashed may only be just beginning. Robert Moore, News at 10.
Yes, more news allowed. Go to iWinnews.com/news. Okay, today is World Book Day, so those of you in your comments. Matilda says, I'm dressed up as Matilda. All very, very creative. Ben says, I'm dressed up as Harry Potter. Nice. If you please say that's in your photos, what you dress up as for World Book Day. At iReading.com/news. Russia bombs as Russia bomb Ukraine. It is very heartbroken and sad. Here is the latest.
For those familiar with Chechnya or Syria, this is very much the Russian way of war. City centres, here Ukraine's second city of Kharkiv, of no military value, utterly devastated by indirect, indiscriminate fire. This, a university building. Survivors pulled from the rubble who had no part in this fight. In Kharkiv, most are Russian speakers, the very people Putin preposterously claims to be liberating. Anna Paraskevova, who spoke to us on Skype, has lived through 7 days of this.
It's been hell, literal hell. So that's it. People are really frightened. People just lost pretty much everything. There was not much to begin with. We're not the richest folk here in Ukraine. My father lives also in Kharkiv. He's in another part of town. He lives there right now. So we just call him every time there's an explosion to ask him if he's alive, and that's it. I'm fine. Yeah, sorry. No crying. I'm all right.
If you wonder what life is like under bombardment, watch this. He did survive this, but who knows how. Around Kiev, to both east and west, there are towns that Russia has decided to destroy in order to liberate. This is Borodyanka, that lies on the approaches to Kiev. And this Irpin, closer still to the capital. If this is now the plan, to use artillery and missiles to steamroll through residential areas towards the center of the city, then pity poor Kiev and what is coming. Maybe only peace talks can save it. President Zelensky's negotiators are still meeting the Russians, but he believes nothing can move forward without a ceasefire.
First of all, everybody has to stop fighting and to go to that point from where it was beginning. Yes, it began 6 days ago. And if those side is ready, it means that they are ready for the peace. If they don't ready, it means that you're just wasting time.
While his army fights, his people are putting their bodies in the way of advancing Russian columns here in the southern town of Enerhodar, home to Europe's largest nuclear power station. And here in Starobelsk in the east, on the day the Ukrainian government says 2,000 civilians have already been killed, just how brave is this? This evening it's the turn of the southern city of Mariupol, holding out, but maybe not for much longer. This is an ugly, ugly war, and it's not nearly over yet.
Yeah, that's the begin. If you have family in Ukraine or Russia, please go and help. Will be more.
Without electricity.
After this now, what if we give up from net? Because some people give up sugar and some people give up sweets. Please let us know what you give up for net at icerealist.com/lose. iCrealist joins the CONVORY. Here is the latest.
Without electricity, water, or fuel, we could no longer report from inside Mariupol, so we decided to join what would be the last convoy to escape. The city has a large Greek community, and Athens had tried to secure safe passage for a ragtag of Greek diplomats, citizens, and foreign journalists. With Mariupol just 5 miles behind us, tanks suddenly appeared in the mist. We hoped they were Ukrainian, but they were not. We filmed the Russians as surreptitiously as possible.
I can count 4 Russian tanks. Thankfully, the crews at the minute appear to be quite relaxed. Somebody from our lead vehicle has gone to have a chat to convince them that we are who we say we are, an innocent convoy leaving Mariupol for safety. You can see the Z
tried to secure safe passage for a ragtag of Greek diplomats, citizens, and foreign journalists. With Mariupol just 5 miles behind us, tanks suddenly appeared in the mist. We hoped they were Ukrainian, but they were not. We filmed the Russians as surreptitiously as possible.
I can count 4 Russian tanks. Thankfully, the crews at the minute appear to be quite relaxed. Somebody from our lead vehicle has gone to have a chat to convince them that we are who we say we are, an innocent convoy leaving Mariupol for safety. You can see the Z on one side of one of the tanks. I can anyway. They're definitely Russians.
At one point, the tank turret turned our way. We were staring down the barrel. It's not clear what spooked them, but something definitely did. And suddenly, some of the Russian soldiers to the right and left of the tank were kneeling and aiming their rifles at our convoy. Thankfully, the situation eventually calmed down. They then checked our IDs, searched our vehicles, and allowed us to proceed. It took a while to drive through what turned out to be a large Russian armoured column.
Dozens and dozens of vehicles, armoured personnel carriers, tanks, lorries, hundreds of men.
Their presence confirmed that Mariupol is indeed encircled, and it's taking a pummeling. We were leaving behind a city where the deputy mayor claims Russian shelling today killed hundreds of civilians. To the Russian-speaking people of this region, it must feel as if these Russian soldiers are guilty of fratricide. John Irvine, News at 10, Eastern Ukraine.
Yes, yes, that is just heartbreaking. Again, okay. Monitorat.iRelief.com/news. Our post social says, please help the people in Ukraine if you can. Okay. So what's it like in Ukraine? It is we know already it is heartbreaking and it is really sad at the moment. Alright, that's a lot on us. We're back to Wowo at 6:30 for the ITV News special. You do not miss that. That's tomorrow at 6:30, normal time for the ITV News special. From everyone here, good night and stay safe.